Welcome, dear listener. Tonight, I want to tell you a story that feels simple, but carries a quiet power. It is about a boy from a small village. He did not have money. He did not have special talent that everyone could see, but he had something rare. He had a decision, and that decision changed everything. In a village wrapped by green hills, life moved slowly. The mornings were soft. The afternoons were lazy. People loved comfort more than growth. They worked only enough to survive, then rested as if rest was the whole meaning of life. They would say, "Why run? Life is already here." They would say, "Why struggle? Tomorrow will come anyway." They would say, "Sleep, enjoy, don't think too much." Most people believed that was wisdom. But one boy felt a different kind of wisdom inside his chest, like a small flame that refused to go out. His house was small, his clothes were plain, his family was poor. His father came home with tired hands. His mother smiled even when there was little food on the table. The boy watched them quietly. He did not hate his village. He did not hate the people. He just could not accept a life that never changed. At night, when the village fell into silence, the boy would lie on his thin mat and stare at the sky through a crack in the roof. The stars looked like doors. The wind sounded like a question. "Is this all?" he would whisper. "Is this where my story ends?" One evening, he walked alone to the river. The water moved forward without stopping. It did not complain. It did not explain itself. It simply flowed. The boy sat on a rock and listened. And there, under the sound of water, he heard something inside him, soft and clear. "If you want a different life, you must live differently." The boy closed his eyes. His heart beat fast. He was afraid because change is not only hard, it is lonely. But he made a promise that night. Not to the river, not to the stars, not to anyone else, to himself. "I will not waste my time," he said. "I will work while others sleep. I will become someone my parents can be proud of." That same night he went to bed early, not because he was lazy, but because he was preparing for war. The war between comfort and growth. Before dawn, the rooster cried once. The sky was still dark. The village was still dreaming. The boy opened his eyes. His body begged him to turn over. The blanket felt warm like kindness. The air felt cold like truth. A voice inside his head whispered, "Not today. Start tomorrow." He stayed still for a moment, listening to that voice. Then he remembered the river. He sat up. His feet touched the cold floor, and the cold shocked him awake. He washed his face with water that felt like ice. He looked into a small cracked mirror. His eyes were tired, but there was something else in them, a quiet seriousness. "This is how change begins," he whispered. He lit a small lamp. Its flame trembled. The light was weak, but it was enough to fight the darkness. He opened an old book. The pages were worn. The words were not easy, but he began anyway. Outside, the village slept. Inside, the boy started building a life nobody could see yet. The first morning felt like climbing a mountain with no shoes. His mind wandered. His eyes burned. His back hurt. He wanted to quit. But when the first sunlight touched his desk, something happened. He smiled. Not because life had changed, but because he had. He won his first battle, and the world did not clap. No one praised him. No one even noticed. But that is the secret. The most important victories are often invisible. The next morning, he woke again and again. The routine did not become easy quickly, but it became possible. Each day, his discipline grew like a muscle. The cold air stopped feeling like an enemy. The silence stopped feeling empty. It started to feel sacred. But people noticed the lamp. At first they were curious. Why is his light on? Is he sick? Is he doing something strange? Then curiosity became laughter. Children pointed and giggled. Young men made jokes. Even some elders shook their heads. They said, he thinks he is better than us. They said, he is wasting his youth. They said, life is meant to enjoy, not to suffer. The boy heard them. Each word hit his heart like a small stone. Sometimes he wanted to shout, you don't understand. But he didn't, because he realized something important. People laugh at what they cannot imagine. His friends would invite him to play, to nap under trees, to spend long afternoons doing nothing. Come on, they said. Why are you always studying? Life is easy. We have time. The boy would look at their happy faces and feel something dangerous in his chest. Envy. He wanted that easy joy. He wanted that soft life. But then he would remember his father's hands. He would remember his mother's tired smile. He would remember the promise by the river. And he would return to his desk. There is a moment in every journey when the world tries to pull you back. Not with pain, but with comfort. Comfort is kind at first. It says rest. It says later. It says you deserve a break. And sometimes comfort is the most powerful trap. Weeks passed. The boy changed in small ways. His eyes became sharper. His words became clearer. His confidence grew quietly, not loudly. Still the village laughed. Then came one night, one long, heavy night. The boy sat under his lamp, but the words on the page blurred. His head felt full of fog. His heart felt empty. He tried to read. Nothing stayed in his mind. He tried to write. His hand felt weak. He closed the book and covered his face. For the first time in many weeks, he didn't feel tired. He felt broken. What am I doing? He whispered. Why am I fighting so hard? Outside, the village slept peacefully. In his mind, the voices returned like shadows. You're wasting your time. You have no chance. You are poor. Stay poor. His throat tightened. Tears rose. He walked to the window and looked at the night sky. The stars felt far away, like dreams that belonged to other people. A terrible thought came. Maybe I'm not meant to win. Giving up suddenly looked beautiful. It looked like peace, like laying down a heavy bag. No more cold mornings, no more loneliness, no more laughter, just sleep. Then, like a candle in wind, a memory flickered inside him. His father's voice, calm and rough. The boy remembered asking, Father, why do you work so much? And his father had answered, because life only gives to the person who keeps asking. Life only gives to the person who keeps asking. The boy breathed in slowly. He wiped his face. He looked at his book again. The pages had not changed, but his heart had. Maybe I can't see my progress, he said softly, but that doesn't mean it isn't real. He sat down again. He opened his notebook, and he wrote one sentence. I will not stop. It wasn't a dramatic speech. It wasn't a loud promise, but it was a turning point. That night, he did not study perfectly. He studied faithfully, and faith is stronger than perfect. From that night, he changed one thing. He stopped trying to win everything in one day. Instead, he started building small wins. He made a simple plan. Morning, learn. Afternoon, help his family. Evening, review. Night, sleep enough to rise again. He learned to rest without guilt. He learned to work without panic. He learned to improve without hating himself. Then something strange happened. Progress became visible. One morning he read a full page and understood it. One afternoon, he solved a problem faster than before. One evening, he explained something clearly to a younger child. Small victories. But small victories are not small when they are repeated. The boy began keeping a proof notebook. Every night, one line, "Today I learned. Today I improved. Today I didn't quit." On hard days, he would read those lines and realize, I am not stuck. I am growing. Months passed. The village still looked the same. Dusty roads, slow mornings, gentle wind. But the boy did not. At the village fair, there was a small contest. Reading, writing, problem solving. People didn't expect much from him. They still remembered him as the quiet boy with the lamp. When his turn came, he stood calmly. His hands didn't shake. His mind was steady. The questions were not easy, but he had trained for hard things. Not in a classroom, in the dark, when no one was watching. When the results were announced, the boy's name was called first. For a moment, the crowd went silent. Then applause rose, soft at first, then stronger. His mother covered her mouth, tears shining in her eyes. His father stood still, shoulders tight, as if holding back a lifetime of emotion. The boy didn't smile proudly. He smiled quietly, because he knew the truth. This victory was not made in the fair. It was made on cold mornings. It was made on lonely nights. It was made in the decision to keep going. After the fair, a visitor approached him, an older teacher from a nearby town. The teacher had watched the boy's calm focus, his clear thinking, his quiet discipline. "You wake before sunrise?" the teacher asked. "Yes," the boy answered. "Why?" The boy thought for a moment, then said, "Because I don't want my life to stay small." The teacher nodded slowly. "That answer is rare." The teacher offered to guide him, to teach him more, to prepare him for bigger opportunities. That night, the boy stared at his lamp and felt something he had not felt in a long time: hope without fear. Soon the teacher brought news: a scholarship, competitive, difficult, life-changing. The boy's stomach twisted when he heard it. Students from other towns would come. Many would wear new clothes. Many would have rich families. Many would have books full of notes. The boy's clothes were still plain. His books were still old. But his discipline was new. And discipline is a kind of wealth. On the day of the test, he entered the hall and saw the other students. Some looked confident. Some looked nervous. Some whispered to friends. The boy sat down and touched his pencil. He remembered the nights of doubt. He remembered the laughter. He remembered the river. He looked at the paper and began. The questions were hard. Some students froze. Some complained. The boy stayed calm, because he had practiced calmness when life was unfair. He had practiced focus when loneliness was loud. Hours passed. When he finished, he didn't feel like a hero. He felt like a worker who had done his job. Days later, the results came. His name was at the top. The village exploded with news. The same mouths that once laughed now spoke with respect. He did it. He really did it. The boy packed a small bag. Before leaving, he stood in his room and looked at the lamp, the desk, the worn books. He touched the proof notebook. He remembered the boy who almost gave up. He whispered, "You were closer than you thought." He walked out of the village, not with pride, but with gratitude, because he understood the real lesson. Life whispers to you when you are ready, not when you wish, not when you complain, not when you wait, when you are ready. Ready means you worked in silence. Ready means you kept going when nobody clapped. Ready means you did not let comfort steal your future. Years later, the boy returned, not as a desperate child, but as a calm young man. He didn't return to show off. He returned to help. He taught children to read. He helped parents solve problems. He spoke gently because he remembered what it felt like to be laughed at. And in the early mornings, one thing never changed. Before sunrise, a small lamp would still glow. Not because he had to, but because he had become the kind of person who does not stop growing. Now, dear listener, here is the question this story leaves in your hands. What are you doing with your time? Are you spending it in comfort, scrolling, waiting, dreaming with no steps? Or are you investing it, learning, practicing, building small wins? You don't need to be rich to begin. You don't need a perfect life to start. You only need one honest decision. Read one page, learn 5 words, practice one paragraph, wake up a little earlier, sleep a little wiser. Small steps, repeated daily, are stronger than big bursts of motivation. And when you feel tired, when you feel lonely, when your progress feels invisible, remember the lamp, remember the river, remember the boy who worked while others slept, because one day life will open a door for you too. And when it does, you won't need luck. You'll be ready. If you enjoyed this motivational English story, keep listening to more stories like this, and keep practicing your English with me. Follow and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Your future is built by what you do today, especially when nobody is watching.